Good afternoon, friends. So in today's class, we will see that how a truss example is solved using direct stiffness method. So you can see here the truss assembly having three members, a simple truss, which are having three members, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 1, 3. So it is being numbered as 1, 2, and 3. And there are three nodes, 1, 2, 3. Each of the node is having two kinematic degrees of indeterminacy. That means, as you know, the truss members can only take axial deformations, either tension or compression. So depending on the loading, it can move, the joint of each of the truss can move either horizontally or vertically. There are no rotations and there are no bending in the truss assembly. So each of the node, let's say node 1 is having two displacement components u1 and v1. Node 2 is having two displacement components u2 and v2, where u says the direction of the displacement in x direction and v says the displacement in the y direction. So we also have at node 3 u3 and v3, which are the display. So basically total 6 kinematic degrees of indeterminacy for this truss altogether, including all three joints. Now, how to analyze this truss using direct stiffness method? There is a systematic procedure. First, you need to create this table. You have to write all the members and how the members are oriented. Now, how to calculate how the members are oriented? As in our previous classes, we have seen that basically we have to measure the angle which is in counterclockwise direction from the positive x-axis. So for example, if member 1, 2 is there, it is already there within the x-axis and it is directed in x direction. So there is no orientation, theta is 0. So we have written theta is 0. Now for member 1, 3, you can see here it's a vertical member, but you try to measure the direction from the x-axis. So from this member, if you measure the counterclockwise direction, it is 90 degrees. So you can see here 90 degrees. Okay, now member 2, 3, if you measure from the positive x-axis, the counterclockwise direction, if you try to measure from counterclockwise direction, the angle is 135. That is 180 minus 45 degrees. And that's why the 135 degrees. So this consistently you have to maintain the direction of the members which are oriented. You can follow one sign rules, one rule where you have to uniformly calculate the orientation for all the members. If you are calculating clockwise, you have to calculate clockwise, counterclockwise, and you have to keep that sign convention consistently. Also, you might have noticed that the orientation of the members, which is going in positive direction from left to right, the lower number on the left side, higher number on the right hand side. However, you can numbering according to your own choice. For example, this member can be 2 and this member can be 1. But in that case, because 1, 2 direction, your orientation of the axis will be sort of reverse, and then in this case you have to measure the angle. If you try to calculate and measure the angle, it turns out to be 180 degrees. So this you have to keep in mind. If you are numbering 1, 2 in the opposite direction, your angle will be 180 degrees. Same thing happen, for example, if you are numbering 1 here and 3 here, then your direction will be not 90 but minus 90 degrees or 360 minus 90 degrees. You can take either of the angle, your values will be the same. Now we are required to calculate, because in last class we have seen how you can transform the stiffness matrix K for all three members separately. So this is the matrix given for the orientation for the in the reference axis. For all the members individually, you are required to calculate this matrix. So for member 1, 2, you have lambda as 1, you can calculate cos theta and sine theta. This is your cos theta, this is your sine theta, and square of it, and then multiplication. And by substituting all the values, relevant values for this member 1, 2 here in this matrices and calculate, you will come to know that this is a kind of matrix that we are obtaining. You can see here. Now for member 1, 2, the forces and the deformations. The forces at member 1, 2, the sign convention, the notation for the forces are, let's say x1, y1, then x2, y2. And the corresponding displacement components are u1, v1, u2, v2. So just for the sake of conveniency, I have noted down u1, v1, u2, u2, so that it says that this matrix is corresponds to this particular node 1 and 2. And we have to mention the corresponding displacements as well as corresponding forces as well, because it's the stiffness matrix. So you may write corresponding forces as x1, y1, x2, y2. Here there will be a K matrix, which is already the transform 1. And then here you have u1, v1, u2, v2. Similar thing we have to do for the member 1, 3. I know all the values and I use the same matrix, transformation matrix, and I try to write the matrix which is corresponds to u1 and v1, u3 and v3. It is related to node 1 and node 3. So for the conveniency, you may write the force vector corresponds to that particular node numberings. For example, x1, y1, x3, y3. And same thing you can do for the third member, where the length, you have to calculate length of each of the member, because here the length is already given L. You may write here A by L. You may add here A by L. You may add here A by L. However, member of the inclined length for the member is this root 2 by L. So A by, instead of L, we are writing root 2 by L. That is the only change. Rest of the values you can calculate. Okay, now using direct stiffness method, because it's the summation assembly of the stiffness matrix is a direct way. So finally, to get the K matrix for the entire truss, we have to do the addition. K matrix from member 1, K matrix from member 2, and K matrix for member 3. We have to add it. So to add this, it is not possible to direct addition here because the corresponding variables are different. One is related with node 1 and 2, second is related with node 1 and 3, and third is related with node 2 and node 3. So how is that possible that 2 by 2, 4 by 4 matrices cannot be added directly because the corresponding variables are different? So what is the solution for that? What we can do is we simply introduce the variables which is related with the third node, which is not relevant to that particular matrix. However, we may introduce zeros with those members with 0 so that it does not affect the originality of the matrix. So we have, moreover, in addition to that, one information, how do you ensure that we want to expand our matrix? Your matrix should be expanded to the size of the global kinematic variables. So here the global kinematic variables as discussed is 6. So stiffness matrix, total size of the total stiffness matrix has to be 6 by 6. However, for the individual member, because there are only 4 kinematic variables, the size of the stiffness matrix was 4 by 4. So here you can see 4 by 4. Here it is 4 by 4. But now to do the direct addition for the assembled matrix for the entire truss, I have to expand this matrix to the global size of the stiffness matrix, that is 6 by 6. And this I can do only by introducing these zeros members in this way, corresponding to the number variables which are not relevant to that particular matrix. So you may see here, if here I want to write, I have written the K matrix for member 1, 2, but I want to expand it to the size of the global stiffness matrix. Third node, if there are 4 noded truss, I have to introduce third, fourth also. Okay, the size of the stiffness matrix should match to the global stiffness matrix, assembled total kinematic variables. That is, in this case, it is 6. But if it is, let's say, 8 noded truss or 10 noded truss, the size has to be 10 by 10 or 8 by 8. So we have introduced zeros and make it to the size of 6 by 6. Similar thing now we can do for member 1, 3. I know that second node has no significance variables which are useful here. However, I may introduce U2, V2, that is third row, third column, and fourth row and fourth column. You may introduce additionally second, third columns and fourth column, and third row and fourth row, and introduce zeros here, just like we have introduced here. Similarly, for member 2, 3, you may introduce member 1. Variables are not significant to us in these matrices. So you may introduce first and second rows and first and second columns, zeros members here. Here, just for saving space, I have not written, but you may understood that you have to introduce zeros in a actually line with the corresponding variables which are particularly available in that particular column. So you may introduce zeros here, and then now it is possible because all my matrices are 6 by 6 and all are having the uniform nodal degrees of indeterminacy, notations and positions for that particular variable. So I simply do the addition now, K1, K2, K3 to get the assembled stiffness matrix in this way. So by addition, direct addition, you may see here, notice that whatever the actual picture of that particular matrix will be something like, here you are adding first, you have introduced some members here. So ultimately it is becoming the size of the global stiffness matrix. Similarly, for the second members also, your matrix will be whatever is the additions of the numbers, it may look something like this. So whatever overlapping members, you may see here some kind of summations here for the overlapping component. So you may verify these after calculation, that how many members, when you add the direct way, how many members are there for the available for the direct addition for this particular matrix. So this will be your K1, K2, K3, but we have to add it to the size of 6 by 6. So this is how K matrix is assembled. Now you may apply, just like we have done in the spring case, how you may introduce the boundary conditions and the forces and the support conditions. That suppose I am having a roller support here for this truss or hinge support here for this truss, and suppose I am adding some forces here in horizontal and vertical direction. So based on your boundary conditions, you may actually introduce that in the left hand side. You will be having x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, and on the right hand side you have the displacement components. U1 V1, U2 V2, U3 V3. So you may use the partition matrix for introducing the support and the loading conditions. And then partition matrix we have already seen in the solving the spring examples, and how you can actually populate the partition, the matrix according to your support conditions and boundary conditions, and you may solve your problems. Thank you.